eating every day, what could potentially be missing, what's there. Are you getting, a rainbow of vegetables? Are you getting enough water? Are you getting the protein that you need? Just generally looking at the diet in that way is the first thing that I do. Let's see. So as far as, should I go into some supplement stuff or talk about herbs?
I would very much like to learn from you about the supplement side of things. Yeah.
So some supplements that I feel comfortable with and feel good about recommending for deep immunity. The first one, which I know is of interest to you, is, and maybe you all are tuned into this already, is using probiotics. In the last 10 years, it's become increasingly more clear that having good intestinal flora is extremely important for us to be able to extract the nutrients from our food. And so bringing some probiotics into the diet. Now, you don't necessarily have to supplement this if you're making kimchi or if you're eating a lot of fermented foods. That's great, but I recommend making them yourself. And there's plenty of people around, and there's people that are teaching classes all the time about how to make fermented foods. Fermenting them yourself, or like we have maybe some Grateful Harvest Farm makes a kimchi right now that they have at the health food store, and just getting that with every meal. I don't always have time to do that, depending. What I will do is I'll just get a good quality probiotic supplement. And there's a few on the market. One's Jarrow formula, Jarrodophilus. There's another one that's a little bit more expensive that I get a discount at from the chiropractic clinic I work at, from Biotics. And both of these companies
Could I just interrupt you? Does anyone have a pet like a Okay, sorry, what were the names of those again?
One is Jarrow,
yeah,
and the other one is Biotics.
Is that J-E or G?
It's Jarrow. And the other one's Biotics, which you actually have to get through a clinician. So, but I'm happy to get that for people.
What about yogurt?
how much are they?
I think the Jarrow refrigerated, if you get the one without FOS, which is, I actually recommend the one without FOS, and I'll tell you all why, is about $15 or maybe a 30 or 60-day supply, and you can get them at Sundance back in the refrigerated section. There's like a little, under the salad bar, there's like a little place you can get them. And remind me of the question that you just asked.
Just about the selling of it.
Okay, okay, maybe not. There was another question that
I was just wondering where yogurt fell into.
Thank you, that was the question. So yogurt is fabulous. If you're not sensitive to dairy, it's great. However, if you are truly, if your intestinal flora is depleted or really deficient, yogurt's great for maintaining, but you have to eat so much yogurt to really bring in enough to get that balance built up. That's where I've seen supplements come in with people, is when there's already an existing deficiency there. And which is often true for people that have, if you tend towards eating a lot of sugar, if you have been on antibiotics and haven't done a few months of the probiotics replenishment afterwards, a lot of people tend to find that doing a month or so of, and you could just do it for a month and see how your digestion improves, a month of the acidophilus. And what I'll sometimes do is have people do the I keep saying acidophilus, which is only one strain. And the probiotics from Jarrow actually has 7 different strains of probiotics. So it's acidophilus, and then there's a bunch of different ones. So you do want that kind of family of bacteria. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, I make kimchi. Does that have 7? How much do you eat?
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that question. What I can tell you, though, is when I've worked with people that we suspected a real deficiency, if they would do the supplement for about a month, they would often notice the difference in their system. And then after that, if they didn't have a dairy tolerance and could eat yogurt and do the fermented foods, and what I would always say is put a little bit as a condiment with each meal. I've found that people can totally maintain proper digestive functioning just for that.
I've heard kefir has more of a spectrum of probiotics than yogurt.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. That's true. The only thing to be careful with kefir is often can be sweetened, and so that sugar.
Oh, and unpastured, like not the kind that you buy in the store.
Exactly.
Homemade kefir.
Yeah. So homemade, and try not to do, put a lot of sweetener in that.
What about kombucha?
There are some kombuchas out there. I haven't studied it so much, but I know there are probiotics in there. Again, I don't know with the sugars how much it does balance it out, so that's something I'm less familiar with. So just to finish out the probiotics thing, so probiotics needs like a basement membrane or food, basically. It's something to grow on. And so FOS is an acronym, I'm not exactly sure what it stands for at this point, that is actually some sugars that those bacteria eat, some long-chain glycosides. And so a handful of years on the market, people were finding that probiotics weren't really working on their own. And so you can find these probiotics with FOS in them. Now the amount in the supplement is just way, way, way too small to actually feed those bacteria. So here's where we bring in our food and herbal friends. Inulin is one of the main foods, which is sugar that's in some root vegetables, such as Jerusalem artichoke is a main one. So if you're doing those probiotics, I always recommend for people to make sure they have inulin-rich food in their diet. And two of the easiest ways to get inulin are our friends burdock and dandelion. And I can't say enough amazing things about burdock and dandelion for supporting immunity too, because they open up the hepatic portal vein and decrease liver congestion, which is a challenge for lots and lots of people. Just living in the city, our liver is a challenge. So I always have people do a couple cups, make a good decoction of dandelion in the morning, and drink a couple cups, right? Often have them just fill up a mason jar and drink that dandelion over the course of the day. And I find that the combination of probiotics and the dandelion is a great pair. What was your question?
I had two. The first was actually a comment. I heard that the inulin in Jerusalem artichokes actually converted into a normal sugar after, like a couple weeks after it was harvested.
I've never heard that. I'm not aware of that. Yeah, I really have no idea. I mean, I tend to think, I just harvest mine per use because I just have a huge bunch in my backyard, and it's kind of just, I store it in the ground as a plant, so I don't harvest it and store it anywhere. I just go out before dinner, pull it out of the ground, wash them off.
It's also maybe one of the most easiest food plants there is to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I store it in the ground year round.
Yeah, I just remember coming across that when I was researching it for diabetes, that you had to eat them fresh if you wanted the diabetic benefits of the inulin. Okay. But also, is inulin more difficult to digest than other starches? Like, does it cause digestive problems if you consume a lot of it?
Not that I am aware of or I've ever seen. I mean, I've actually seen it aid in digestive issues because, again, it's the food for the good bacteria. You can see sometimes when people are really, really imbalanced in their gut flora and they start to bring in probiotics and inulin, they'll get very gassy, and so that's a sign. Like sometimes I tell people, well, try the regular dose. You can get the powdered kind, so then you just do like 1/4 of a teaspoon, and for some people that's too much. And so I have them back off to about 1/8 of a teaspoon and play with it because you want to kind of slowly introduce that healthy flora. So I've seen it be a digestive disturbance in that way. I've never read nor from any practical experience seen inulin be at all challenging. I've seen exactly the opposite. So yeah.
We also have yacon, which is an Andean root crop that we grow locally, which is inulin rich, and also the Jerusalem artichoke we commonly grow locally is just one of countless varieties that exist. The northeast of the United States is something of a global center for Jerusalem artichoke diversity, and we can pick up varieties there of many different tastes, flavours, storage ability, and something we've only just begun playing with in the Pacific Northwest. So if you're looking at a long-term inulin-rich addition to the diet, do be aware there's a lot more out there than the old knobbly little yellow Jerusalem I showed you.